KARN News Time is 7:43. Bob Steele and Gina Martin with you on First News. And joining us on the live line, Representative Tim Griffin, here to talk to us about all things Congress.
Good morning.
A lot of things
Good
Congress
morning.
Right
Morning,
now.
Congressman. How are you today?
I'm fine. I don't think you're going to give me enough time to go through everything that we've been dealing
You
with.
need your own show, right?
Well, tell us about the payroll tax extension. What's going on with that?
Well, that bill is separate from the spending debate that's going on. That bill is wrapped in with something that deals with unemployment insurance. We put some reforms in there with regard to unemployment insurance, and that also has the Keystone Pipeline aspect to that bill, and that is still sitting in the Senate. They have not taken any action on it. We passed it, earlier this week. And I'll tell you, I know the president has talked about vetoing anything that has the Keystone Pipeline in it, but I think we ought to stand firm on this. A lot of people talk about the jobs in the future that are associated with the Keystone Pipeline, but we're already losing jobs in Little Rock right now because of the delay. I'm sure you saw the Wellspun announcement earlier this week.
Yes.
And I tell you, the head guy at Wellspun flew up here, and we did a press conference. They have been operating full capacity for the last several years just to produce pipe for this pipeline. And so you can see how someone saying, well, I'm not sure it's going to go forward or not. You can see how that would put a wrench in their plans. The other thing I would tell you, the jobs issue is premier, is number one, but I went over and met with the folks at the Canadian Embassy, and they say, look, we want to sell these oil sands to y'all. We want y'all to have it and be more independent, energy independent, what have you, but we can't just let it pile up. If y'all don't buy it and refine it in Texas or wherever the refineries are going to be that handles it, then we got to ship it to China because they have the refining capacity and they'll use the oil. So this is a national security deal too. And I tell you what, I'm not going to shut up about the Keystone Pipeline until we get it approved because I think this is a no-brainer. I don't have a lot of agreement with labor unions, but we agree on this one. So that's what this is going to boil down to. I think most folks are going to be for the payroll tax cut.
What about the Senate's idea of considering a 2-month extension on the expiring payroll tax cut and extending unemployment benefits if they're unable to strike a deal with y'all regarding the Keystone Pipeline?
Well, I'm not a big fan of a month and 2 months and 2 weeks and this and that. I just think they ought to get it done. I cannot see a reasonable objection to the Keystone Pipeline. I've looked at the environmental stuff. I've looked at the jobs impact. I've looked at which states are for it, and now they all are. The China part of the equation. I just don't get it. We got pipelines going all over this country. I'll tell you what this boils down to. The environmental extremists don't want it, and the labor unions do, and those are two friends of the president. And so instead of making one mad and the other happy, it's like your kids, You two kids want the same cookie, and you go, neither one of you is getting it. I'm going to think about it a while. And so they just go, oh, okay. Well, that's what's going on here. And he didn't go, well, maybe in 2 months I can come up with something. I got to look at it. He said, oh, it'll be after the election. Well, how do you know it's going to be after the election? It may not take that long. Well, he's decided it's going to be after the election. So no matter what else I agree or disagree with the president on, this relates to jobs in Little Rock, jobs now, and people going, well, these are temporary jobs. Name me an infrastructure project, bridges, roads, etc., that aren't temporary jobs. Plus, these are going to spur other jobs. Man, I tell you, I'm fired up on this Keystone Pipeline. And I'm going to keep talking about it until we get something done on it. I hope we stand firm and don't cave on this.
Well, before we let you go, we have to ask you about this. This has a lot of people in full-blown panic mode about the National Defense Authorization Act. What are your thoughts on that?
Yes. Well, let me just say this. The Senate, we changed the Senate language a little bit, but I'll say this. There is so much misinformation on this. I've written an entire essay-type deal. It's on my official Facebook page, facebook.com/Rep Tim Griffin. Here's the deal. This is statutory law. It simply reflects what the Supreme Court has already said. It does not change what the Supreme Court has said. Obviously, the Supreme Court decides what the Constitution says. It does not change the constitutional civil rights of American citizens. I would say that 99% of the objections I have heard are based on either early information in the Senate, or most of it is just based on bad information off the internet, or a talk radio host, no offense, other talk radio hosts nationally took this and just ginned it up. There is so much misinformation on this. Please read Facebook.com/Rep Tim Griffin. The Supreme Court in the 2004 Hamdi case already said that if an American citizen becomes a member of Al-Qaeda and we capture them, then we can hold them, but they get their constitutional rights. They have the right to a habeas corpus proceeding in a federal court. But that basically means they can challenge why they're being held, and they've got to make the government justify it. This does not change that. This simply says we got a bunch of court cases out there with differing opinions and all at the circuit court level. The Supreme Court has said some things on it, but has not answered every question. Let's take this stuff and put it in a clear, concise statute so that our warfighters and our policy planners know what the rules are.
All right, Congressman, we'll check your Facebook page on it, and we appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you. Thank you all so much. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I hope to be home as soon as we get this stuff done.
All right, Merry Christmas to you, sir.
All right, bye-bye.
KARN News Time is 7:50. Our traffic brought to you by Arkansas.